Trying something a bit different with sound this morning. Got my lavalier mic on, so I'm trying to do parallel sound recording. We'll see how it goes. Um, I want to talk to you about an elephant in the room, something that I've alluded to once or twice, but never really spoke about, and that is my wife Andrea. Uh, on Sunday was Andrea's birthday. She would have been 48. Yes, there's past tense in there. Andrea is. Andrea was my universe. I can write love stories about that woman, and I did. She died of breast cancer just about 4 years ago. It was in that horrible, tumultuous year of our Lord 2020 when everybody was complaining about COVID. And I say we, went to war with breast cancer. Andrea was diagnosed on, well, she wasn't diagnosed on, we discovered the tumor on Sunday, the 9th of February 2020. And the reason I remember the date so clearly was because we were supposed to go to my mother because it was my mother's birthday. And I remember I was dressed and ready to go visit my mother, which was always a bit of a chore, but, sitting in the lounge waiting for Andrea to get out of the shower when I just heard her scream, "Jerry!" And I'm like, okay, what did I do now? Uh, Went to the main bedroom where Andrea was standing in the bathroom, dripping wet, white as a sheet, pointing to her right breast and going, "Is that a lump?" And I don't know. And I put my hand, and it felt like a hand of Lego, maybe a handful of broken cookies. It wasn't just a lump of fat or I don't know. I'm not a doctor. The moment my hand touched Andrea's breast, I was like, that's not right. We never did go to my mother that day. That very following day, that Monday, we went to get a mammogram done. That was Monday. Tuesday, we waited. Wednesday, she was confirmed triple negative breast cancer. That was in February 2020. We went to see Dr. Carol Ann Ben, legendary Professor Dr. Carol Ann Ben of the Breast Care Clinic in Mill Park. I will crawl over hot coals for that woman. And she confirmed the diagnosis and started Andrea on a treatment plan, heavy chemo. And Andrea started her chemo just as the COVID lockdowns happened. I remember the first time I drove her to chemotherapy. On one of the main roads, there was an army roadblock to ensure lockdowns. You've just been diagnosed with cancer, you're going for your first chemotherapy, and you are met with guys in masks and machine guns asking you what the hell you're doing. Yeah. Sadly, things didn't go up for there. That was February, March, April, May, June, July, August. 6 months later, on the 13th of August, Andrea needed to have emergency mastectomy. 2 days previously, on the 11th, we discovered that the tumor wasn't responding very well to the chemo, and she needed to get an emergency mastectomy. And she was told, look, there's a good chance you're not going to come home. Get your affairs in order. We came home, we found our friends Lucia and Rena, who are lawyers, and they came and they gave wills and living wills and organ donation forms and all the everything, and we signed all the everything and did that. And then on the morning of the 13th of August, we needed to take her to hospital. And as we were packing her bags, literally probably 5 minutes before we were due to leave the house, my father called. My mother had just died of COVID. And I couldn't do a damn thing about it. I needed to take my wife to hospital. Took her to hospital for this surgery that she might never wake up from. And I wasn't even allowed to hug her goodbye. Did the mastectomy. I went home. I couldn't visit my father because he was at the old age home where my mother was. I wasn't allowed in due to COVID, and I just sat at home. It was at that stage the worst day of my life. Andrea came home. She survived the surgery, thank God for that. But it didn't go well. She went backwards, and on the 13th of November, Friday the 13th, they told her the bad news. Said she's dying, and she's got 6 months left to live. And I was the one who had to tell her. No, not had to tell her. I was the one who chose to tell her. The doctor asked him, do you want to tell her or should I? And I said, no, I'll do it. And I took Andrea home. I made her a cup of tea. I got her in bed, and I gave her the news. Sweetie, you're dying. You've got 2 to 3 weeks left, and you won't live to see Christmas. That was the worst day of my life. Not even the day Andrea died was as bad as that day. On Saturday, the 12th of December, just a couple of weeks before Christmas, Andrea died of breast cancer, and my universe imploded. And what stemmed from that was an absolute journey and a deep dive into grief. I don't want to say I'm special, because I'm not. Many people have had far greater calamities than me. But I went in and experienced grief on a level that I didn't know was possible. And as a net result, something came of it, which I'm very proud of. And that is this book here, my most popular publication yet. I actually managed to get mainstream distribution on this. It's not just self-published, it's actually for real. Chronicles of a Reluctant Widower. The subtitle, A Memoir on Love, Death and Life. And that's what it is. It's a book in 3 parts. The first part is on love. It's a love story. One of the best reviews I had in my life was somebody who said it's a better love story than The Bridges of Madison County. So I can get Clint Eastwood to play me in the movie, but he might be a bit old by now. The second part is on death. Death is a messy business, and Andrea and I went through it. I was the one who had to stay behind and tell the story. And tell the story I did. I had a book launch in December 2021 on the journey of love, death, and life. And the last part of the book is on life, because somehow I managed to get out on the other side, more or less. Changed, definitely changed. I am not the man I was, in both the good and bad sense of the words. But I have grown, and I can say now that Andrea's death was the worst thing that ever happened to me, but it was also the most important thing that ever happened to me. And I received quote-unquote fan mail. Well, it's not even quote-unquote, I did receive fan mail, but also other types of mail from all over the world, India, Italy, New Zealand, people calling me up and or sending me messages and saying, this book changed lives, touched lives. And I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of it. And if I were to shuffle off my own mortal coil today, then the Chronicles, this is what I want to be remembered for. It's an ode to my wife, it's an ode to love, and it's an ode to life itself. And if I can inspire just one person to sit with grief, if I can take one person through the journey of what it's like to lose a spouse and somehow get out the other side, then I would call my job done. I can speak a lot more on this topic, but we're almost 12 minutes in, so I'm going to say thank you for watching, and I hope the next video won't be quite so depressing.